What typical conventions are you likely to expect to see in a crime thriller?
You're expected to see sort of a damp, dark scene with like the main hero sort of being like a detective, and then them sort of chasing the villain who's probably done a murder at the start of the film for the whole film.
What locations are you usually expected to see in a crime thriller?
Like I said, quite a dark sort of damp city where, like, you know, not really that, like quite drab, so yeah.
What characters are you usually expected to see in a crime thriller?
You have the hero who's like or a detective, or you could have maybe one or two detectives. The villain could be a like murderer who did a crime at the start of the film, and then you have like the other extras around, which could probably be helping either side.
What are your favourite aspects of a crime thriller film, if any, why?
I like the suspense that it creates, mainly because the music and camera shots create this quite well.
Do you have a favourite crime thriller? If so, why?
My favourite crime thriller is Seven, mainly because it's like quite good how it sort of builds up to how they find the killer, and then the ending of the film's quite good as well.
Do you think I should include any specific aspects in my crime thriller film?
I think you should include good sort of suspense music, which can build up to a certain scene and create good tension.
Thank you.
Cheers.
What typical conventions would you expect to see in a crime thriller?
It'd usually be dark, quite damp. You can have cities or sometimes even a rural area. There's usually a protagonist and an antagonist as well.
What locations are you usually expected to see in a crime thriller?
Like I said, it could have a rural area, but it tends to be usually an urban area. Maybe a city, quite dark usually, sometimes even rainy scenes.
What characters are you usually expected to see in a crime thriller?
A protagonist and an antagonist, and then a couple of mediocre type characters as well. You've always got the bad guy and then the hero, which tends to save the day. And then you've got a couple of other characters in the background which can kind of enlighten on the actual storyline.
What are your favourite aspects of a crime thriller, if any, why?
I like the suspense built up with music usually. It helps to get you engaged within the scene, and usually action scenes as well, quite good.
Do you have a favourite crime thriller? If so, why?
It'd have to be Seven, just down to the fact that it builds up suspense, and when it gets to the actual final or main part of the film, it's very good and it gets you engaged quite well.
Do you think I should include anything in particular in my crime thriller film?
I think the music is the key part for your film. It'd be the best thing I think to work on. It helps build up the suspense, and it really does make the scene overall much better.
Thank you. What typical conventions would you expect to see in a crime thriller?
I imagine that it would be quite dark and gritty and very intense with a lot of suspense in it.
What locations are you usually expected to see in a crime thriller?
A dark city, probably full of crime and you know, quite damp and probably rainy.
What characters are you usually expected to see within a crime thriller?
A clear protagonist, which would probably be a police officer or investigator, and then an antagonist who would be the mastermind of the big crime.
What are your favourite aspects of a crime thriller, if any, why?
The suspense that's drawn out through the whole mystery of what's been going on.
Do you have any favourite crime thriller films? If so, why?
Seven is a really good crime film, as it has a lot of suspense and mystery with it.
Do you think I should include anything in particular with my crime thriller film?
The suspense and mystery that goes on throughout the whole film is very important.
Thank you. What typical conventions would you expect to see in a crime thriller?
I would typically like to see like a bit of dramatic suspense between like an police officer or maybe a gang, between like a victim or something.
What locations are you usually expected to see within a crime thriller?
Locations, I'd expect to see like police stations, maybe subways, like urban areas as well.
What characters are you usually expected to see?
Characters, police officers obviously, like gangsters maybe, and typically poorer people.
What are your favourite aspects of a crime thriller, if any, why?
My favourite aspect probably would be the suspense of not knowing what's going on. I'd also like the intense, where it's possible chases or whatnot. That really affects me.
Do you have a favourite crime thriller? If so, why?
My favourite crime thriller is probably Shutter Island, which is really intense. It's more psychological, but it's still got that crime aspect into it.
Do you think I should include anything specific in my crime thriller?
Yeah, cliffhangers and like suspense is probably going to be the main aspects that I would suggest having in your crime thriller.
Thank you.